All right, we're live. GM, everybody. Welcome to what's going to be another great DevNTell. So if you didn't know, DevNTell is a 30-minute window for builders to showcase something they're working on or are passionate about. This can be an awesome project you've been working on, demonstrating unit testing best practices, automation goodies, smart contracts, how to structure a project, etc. Basically, if you have a passion for something, this is your opportunity to share it with the community. And today I'm ecstatic to have Jane, who's Chief of Staff from Aspecta on. Welcome, Jane. Happy to have you
Hi,
on.
thank you for having me.
My pleasure. My pleasure. This one was almost not going to happen, but I was glad I was able to catch Jane while she was at ETC. Perhaps if folks aren't familiar with yourself, would you like to give a brief introduction, just like who you are, what you do at Aspecta, how you got into Web3?
Yeah, hi everyone. I'm Jane. I was studying AI for my undergrad in the past 4 years, and thankfully graduated last year. And then I actually got into Aspecta right at the age of whether I want to go to grad school or want to do a startup. I actually graduated one semester early, like just to try out like the real world, like the real life, and then got into Web3 space because I was used to work in a VC, and then like one day my boss just randomly asked like, "Who here knows about like Web3 or Bitcoin or Ethereum? Any of you know that?" And I was the only one that raised my hand saying basically saying, "Oh, I bought some Bitcoin and Ethereum," but back then I definitely don't know what it exactly that means. I just randomly buying something, and then at the venture fund, like my boss just suddenly decided to like dab into the Web3 space. So he asked me to find some Web3 projects that is worth investing. So that's how I get into this space. And then last year, after I graduated, I met the founder of Aspecta, Jack. And back then, he was doing an AI company, like as you can see the slogan here, like Aspecta is doing AI generated identity for pioneer builders and beyond. And then back then, he was thinking about doing AI recruitment because his partner actually have the technology like Code NLP, which it can analyze people's GitHub codes and then basically doing skill set assessment and achievement, that kind of things. But after a series of talk with Jack, I actually convinced him to pivot into the Web3 space to do a bigger thing that can make bigger impact, which is identity. And then I would basically say if you pivot to Web3, I'll just give up my grad school and I'll join you full time to support this company, and that's how I end up being at Aspecta.
Wow, that's crazy. Yeah, a lot of people who are really passionate about Web3 just need to find the right person to get them hooked. And then, yeah, that's amazing. You felt so passionately about the space to be able to drop what you were doing and just work on this full time. That's awesome. Good on you. I guess what do you have in store for us today? We can get right into the content.
Sure. So today I do want to talk a bit about digital identities. And before I show this slides or demo or anything about Aspecta, I do want to talk about the broader idea of digital identity a little bit. So whenever people are talking about like either digital identity, decentralized identity, or just DIDs, they'll often think because all the projects that we know that are famous for either DID or any other identity related stuff will be ENS. So you'll just buy a domain name to represent your wallet address to know, like let people know you better. But when I started Aspecta, one thing I was thinking about was in the real world, when we are doing different things, we're having different kind of identity to represent ourselves. Everyone is like multi-dimensional instead of just one single role in this society. You have to have your driver's license to drive your car. You need to have your passport to travel around the globe, and other things like you have to have a diploma to as a credential for your education things. So Aspecta is building digital identity for developers. So what does that exactly mean? So we do want to build this infrastructure to empower every developer to bridging them into the Web3 space. And also for those who are already in this space, we want to bridging them with different ecosystem to make real impact, to be able to feel like they're part of this industry and they are contributing towards the development of this industry. Basically, having this ID allows them first do a skill set assessment to better understand themselves, their past achievements, their past footprint, basically what kind of hackathons they attended, which hacker houses they lived at, and the group of people he's just hanging out, whether it's online or in the physical world. And also being able to get rewarded by the contributions he made into this industry. So that's how I decided to make Aspecta ID. And I'm gonna do a little slideshow. So with the background I mentioned, so I decided to join Aspecta and build this AI-powered identity protocol for all the developers and beyond in the future. One of the reasons why we're targeting developers instead of other people is because developers are the only kind of people who will have all their works and all their basically their life on the internet. So for other careers, they might have to interact with the real world, like the physical world a little bit. But for developers, all their code is stored either on GitHub or in some kind of server or anywhere that in the cloud that is stored on the internet. So that makes us very easily to get those data and do basically assess developers' achievements, skill set, and everything, etc., etc. So that's why we're only building identity for developers. And hopefully, when this industry gets a lot more bigger and bigger, we can do this thing for more people. And so, Aspecta, we're actually envisioning your identity in the digital world. Basically, in the Web2 space, people are having different kind of social accounts to represent different aspects of themselves. They will just send their tweet and ask professional question on Stack Overflow, or just chatting with community people members that are in the same community on Discord, or they will just have different kinds of social accounts. And what Aspecta ID do is we do aggregate all of your on-chain and off-chain accounts together, and using our AI model to understand like what kind of person you are, who you will like, and your social graph and everything, and give this ID back to you to have this fully self-sovereign identity experience. Basically, you will be able to aggregate all of your social like accounts in one all in one place to better demonstrate yourself, to better showcase your skill set and everything. And also, one of the things that also back when we first founded Aspecta was we wanted to help more people with less fancy background or less fancy job experience, like they never work at Google, Amazon, or all the big tech, or they never got a degree in Stanford or just any of the universities that you can think. So actually, there are a large part of the world that are living like they went to colleges you never heard the name before, and they don't really work at any fancy big tech companies before, but they have this solid skill set or experience in building real world projects that are actually contributing to the world, which those kind of people are the people that we're extremely focusing on. So for the core technology, we're basically using a lot of using a combination of large language model that's mainly like NLP, symmetric understanding, like knowledge keyword extraction to basically understand your code, your project, or your README, to let this computer knows like what exactly are you working on. And we also use graph learning, which is network analysis, to evaluate how strong is your connection and how solid is your work. So for example, if Vitalik's give you a star on your GitHub repo, that might mean more things than to just random like new account which have no commits, nothing on their GitHub give you a star on your GitHub repo. So yeah, we're basically using a lot of models to analyze your on-chain and off-chain aspect. And this is kind of how Aspecta ID looks. And as I mentioned, everything is sovereign, which you will have the true data ownership by putting all of your data on chain. And for the privacy purpose, we're not accessing to anyone's like private repos right now. And in the future, we're working towards just using any kind of privacy preserving technology such as ZKML or other stuff, not just trying to throw all the buzzword, but we're actually our R&D team is trying their best to experiment like what kind of tool will be the appropriate tool to first protect your privacy and second to help you achieve the maximum of interoperability by either putting your data on chain or just if you want to store it locally, then what will be the correct way for you to have a proof of those things while keep your privacy. And the modules on the identity, like I don't know, is basically your skill set, your impact insight. So we will understand your skill set based on different tiers. So maybe Web3 will be the biggest, like top tier, and then smart contract might be the second layer, and then the last layer will be maybe Ethereum, Polygon, Optimism, all other chains you're building on top of. And then the second module is called footprints. Basically, this part not just documents everywhere you've been, like every hackathons or all other activities you've attended in the Web3 world, but also what kind of things you're interested at. For example, I might be very interested in ZK, and I talk a lot about it in my Twitter, but I'm not a ZK circuit engineer, so which I don't write anything related to ZK, but so that section will actually go into your footprints part. And then achievement will basically be all the things you achieve, all the badges you get. And also for the experience spotlight will just be all the qualitative data, which in the first part, the skill set and footprints and all the achievement parts are more quantitative, which everything is representing in a more like mathematic way. But for the experience spotlight part, it will just be, a passionate follower of Web3, a strong Solidity developer, etc., etc. And the last section is pretty minor as of current. Is connect with like-minded peers. So a lot of developers they're so keen into like contributing in their own project, and sometimes they're ignoring to connecting with the outside world. And for this part, we're just trying to make it as useful as like feasible as possible. So one of the use cases that we're actually trying to explore is to help developers to form groups when they are attending hackathons, because I feel like that's one of the biggest pinpoint for people to attend hackathon. For myself, I came from an AI background, so when I was in college, like no one, I was too shy to talk to other teams. So basically, I didn't attend a lot of hackathons because I couldn't find a team to join. So that function, we're trying to work towards that direction. So one of the biggest goals for Aspecta ID is to achieve the maximum interoperability. So all the Aspecta ID holders, they will have this sovereign like features, which every data they own is they do have all the data ownership of the data they have. And then Aspecta is bridging between Web2 and Web3 space. And then in the future, we're using this huge network to empower all the third-party applications and ecosystems in the Web3 space. So basically, we're just trying to bridging the gap between developers and projects or ecosystem to have them to have a bigger impact in this industry and also get rewarded by their contribution. Yeah, so we're like a project by developers and for developers, so we've been making some like significant partnerships or attend some of the events in the past. And basically we just announced our partnership with Gitcoin, looking into integrating into Gitcoin passport in the next 2 to 3 months. And we also participate in the Gitcoin main round, which just passed, I think, 2 months ago. And we do host some hackathons with some of the major universities in the US, because I just feel like although we're trying to highlight all those people that don't have a fancy background, but we are using Stanford and MIT students to as the like alpha tester to give us some product feedback to see how they really like our product in terms of experience and other things. And also we've been partnering with the EAS, like Ethereum taxation service. They're actually one of our techs that we're using on chain to help people to put all their data on chain, not in forms of NFTs, but in form of attestations, which will save a lot of block spaces, and then make like you definitely pay less gas fees, and then you don't have to come up with a picture or image of your skills or other things. You just need a attestation. And also in the future, as I mentioned, we're building this identity to help developers better demonstrate, better showcase themselves. And what will be the actual utility of that? It will be we will help developers get funded from different ecosystems, not just to contribute to their existing open source project, but also to attend different hackathons to bring maximum of innovation into this industry. And then we're actually partnering with a lot of hacker houses, which provides a better experience for hackers when they're attending those hackathons. Yeah, so yeah, that's basically everything about Aspecta, what we been done and what we're doing in the next step. So do you want to know if there's any question from the audience or from NAR?
Yeah, for sure. That was great, Jane. Yes, gang, if you have any questions, please post them in the chat in YouTube, and I will answer or ask on your behalf. But in the meantime, I do have a couple questions of my own. So the essence of this is, so all my data as a developer, all my data is kind of scattered throughout the web. All the different contributions I've done, say like to developer DAO and open source, is siloed. And what Aspecta is doing is trying to bring all of this together in a single identity. So I guess what would be some use cases that I would be able to use this identity for beyond just like job searching? Curious to hear your thoughts on that.
Yeah, so we are actually working on different like real utilities for this product currently. And one of the biggest one is we're collaborating with different ecosystem. For example, like Optimism, they have a very solid like grant program for all the developers that are contributing to their ecosystem. But now all the developer grants are actually focused on project itself. A lot of protocol are actually focusing on you're building an amazing project, and how much volume can this project bring like on chain to, especially into my ecosystem. But a lot of other like open source projects, especially public goods, of course OP had done an excellent job in bringing out their retroactive fund to fund all those public goods project. But what we're emphasizing is the contribution of individual developers, their contribution to those either public good or open source projects or anything on this ecosystem should get rewarded. So that would be actually one of the main use cases to get developers funding into not getting a full-time job or doing a bounty, but get paid by what they really like to do. Because when I talk to a lot of developers, that I feel like a lot of them are actually spontaneously like contributing to a lot of open source project. And when I ask why, and are you getting are you get paid or anything, they just said no, because I just want to contribute. I just love those projects. I already have a like pretty damn boring like job in the daytime, and I'd rather do something fun for myself in the nighttime. So I'm thinking about just to bring all the spotlight to those group of developers that are actually contributing to the development of our industry. So that'll be the thing that we're focusing on in the next. And of course, we're gonna have other utilities, such as we're thinking about collaborating with all the education platforms. So for now, I think Web3 University, actually Alchemy University, they just changed their name. So it's one of the project that we're thinking about collaborating, basically helping developers to understand, because Aspecta helps them to do skill set assessment. Basically, they will understand what kind of skills that I have and what kind of level like skills I also have. So we can help them to be a better developer by suggesting them all those education content. And then when they complete this task, of course, they are naturally first going to become a better developer in some sense, and also they'll get those on-chain credentials either from the course provider or from us. And the third thing will be just to engaging the whole community. Of course, we have an amazing community like a developer DAO, which are gathering a lot of developers here. And then also we do want to give more value back to the community, back to every individual hackers. So we want to just support them to either build the public good projects they want to do, or to sponsor their like developer DAO is doing is to do sponsorship for all the hackers to attend different hackathons worldwide. And then we're actually also partnering with a lot of hacker houses to bring the like it's I feel like it's just a nice extra thing that you can have to have a better experience to live with a bunch of other developers who share the similar interests, who will like maybe become the co-founder of your next project or other stuff. So yeah, that could be several of the directions we're going to in the next. But to get individual developers' contribution recognized and get them funded will be the main thesis for us to go in the next step.
Awesome. Yeah, exciting to hear that. And are there any plans that you can share in terms of whether I'll be able to log in to something with my Aspecta digital identity? Much in a similar vein to how you can sign in with Google today. Like, do you see Aspecta becoming like a general digital identity provider that people can use to identify themselves?
Yeah, I do think, but of course, Aspecta ID have its own limitation. Like I mentioned, like it's a specific like a passport for developers to use. And the reason why we're doing a lot of on-chain aspect and to bring more interoperability is because I feel like people can just have their own assets on chain and be able to showcase their skill set, not only through, because if everyone is logging through Aspecta, of course we can do all the BD work to go out like what Google does is to have everyone, hey everyone, you must embed Aspecta ID login into your D app or your home like website. But we do want to bring this like little extra interoperability into people, which we will just have them having why we want to do like it all like in a self-sovereign way is they can have the total ownership of their data. And then when they want to do the interoperabilities kind of things, they can either do it through Aspecta, or if the D app or anything that they are trying to interact is not a partner of Aspecta, they will still have the ability to showcase or demo like their skill set and achieve those benefit or other things they want to get.
Awesome. Yeah, yeah. Fair enough. Fair enough. Uh, and this question is more of a general. I'm always curious to hear the answer from folks who have a deep AI background. But where do you where do you see AI and Web3 continuing to kind of cross paths as we continue to innovate in both spaces? This year, in general, we've seen more and more companies kind of go for that merge. Let's call it. But just curious to hear what are your thoughts on like where AI and Web3 are co-heading together, and what other use cases do you think will start to pop up beyond identity?
Oh, that's a pretty interesting question. I actually get this question a lot recently, especially because
Yeah.
I had this AI background, and a lot of people are actually coming up to me saying, "Are you regretted that you've give up on AI and joined the Web3 space?"
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, actually, as of for now, I don't see much of. I feel like a lot of the AI combined Web3 project that at least I've been seeing is more in the experiment space. So I was talking to someone, I don't know, um, if you know him, Daniel from Modulus Lab. He's doing like zkML on chain, which he's using a fully on chain model to generate all the to I think it's 1,000 NFTs. And I think that's a pretty good experiment. And however, like in my eyes, I feel like AI and Web3 are two entirely different kind of things. So what is essentially AI does is to bring more like efficiency to boost productivity. And Web3 or blockchain technology is actually doing the opposite way. Because I feel like for AI, you can sacrifice your privacy, you can sacrifice like everything just to get this extra like productivity. But for in the blockchain space, that we're actually do is we're giving up on the conveniency of using like or the like all the easy things to get this extra privacy and security and everything. But I do think maybe like other things that AI might be good at could be bringing on chain is like risk management, because a lot of larger institutions have been using some like pretty simple AI models to do their basically doing a decision tree or any other stuff, determining the risk of different accounts. That might be one thing that we can bring into the space, because basically everyone is having their transaction fully on chain and all the data is so accessible. So maybe the risk like assessment thing could be one thing that it is in the AI times like Web3 like route.
Interesting. Yeah. Yeah, definitely. I can see a use case for that, especially for larger enterprise businesses. Uh, awesome. I guess we're nearing time. I just want to share with folks what's the best way for people to get involved with Aspecta, start building with it, start building their digital identity.
Yeah, so for now, we're still under the closed beta version, which we're mainly going into the major events, especially those events that East Global are hosting to distribute or our invitation code to have, because we do want to ensure the quality of developers that are using our product right now and to get a better feedback to really connect with everyone who's using Aspecta ID to know what they think about this product. So it will mainly be the graduate will be participating in all of the events that we're attending. So for example, our next step will be at Stanford Blockchain Week. So and also East Global New York. So if any of the folks is going to those events, if you see me or send me a DM on my Twitter, I'll give you an invitation code. Or well, I feel like just attending all the events that we're going to, it will be the best way. Or maybe you can just stay tuned on our Twitter, because we're about to launch our developer incentive program with a ecosystem which they are looking into funding developers to attend East New York, so potentially East New York, because we're still talking with them. And also, they're giving out developer grants to all the developers who are contributing to their ecosystem. So that should be launching like, I think, by the end of August. So if anyone is looking into exploring the ZK space a little bit and then eager to contribute to an ecosystem, also want to basically attend East Global New York Hackathon, you can stay tuned to our Twitter.
Awesome, exciting. Yes, and I'll be sure to share your Twitter and Aspecta's Twitter in the general description of this video and the blog that will be coming out later today or tomorrow. But with that, we are at time. Thank you so much again, Jane, for coming on. Really, really appreciate you taking the time to come on. And I just want to wish everybody a happy Friday, happy weekend. And before everyone leaves, I want to show you this QR code that you can use to scan with your regular QR code scanner and claim your kudos for being an attendee today. And apologies, last week we had a mishap with the QR code, which was showing an old one, but this one should address that. So you'll have 1 hour from now to be able to claim this as an attendee. And Jane, I will send you a different one for being a speaker today. But yes, just again, want to say happy Friday, happy weekend, and that will catch you all back here next week. All right, all. Cheers.